The ocean, the breeze, my children, my husband.
Which one's your favorite out of that?
Probably the ocean. Sorry.
How about for you?
Pretty much the same as her list, but my nature one is I do like the ocean, but I really like the redwoods.
What is it about them?
I guess they're very calming, and I have a lot of good memories growing up. My family used to go camping a lot at Richardson Grove State Park near Garberville. And throughout my life, even growing up, I even went camping with my sisters on our own with our tent. And then when I got married, my husband and I would go camping in the redwoods also. I'm grateful for my health, and I'm grateful for my family, and most of my family is pretty healthy. I mean, we haven't had any bad illnesses so far, and my sisters and I are all in our 60s and 70s, so that's something to be grateful for.
The Elliott girls. That's what we call them. They come in like a force.
Yeah.
It reminds me of my aunts when they would come to our house and you know, bring food and be sweeping and just doing everything. And when you guys come in, it's always just, woo, the Elliott girls are here, you know. And stuff just gets done, you know. And you're all laughing and having a good time. So.
As we've gotten older, we get together more. I mean, everyone had their own families, I guess, and now that kids are grown more, we have time to go to family gatherings like this one. I don't live very far away, so it wasn't that difficult for me, but some of my sisters are coming from a long distance to get here to see.
I'm a laugher for sure. One of my favorite things that makes me laugh is my son. He's very witty, and what he writes, like, it's a little bit sarcastic, but it's just, it's spot on, you know. It's just, and he's always been very eloquent. Even, he never spoke baby talk. He just started full sentences. And as a kid, he would just come up with things. Like, one time Dave picked him up early from a bar mitzvah, and everyone else was going to stay and go to the after party. And he was 13, and we're like, no way, you're not. You can stay as long as you want, but you're not going to the after party. So all the other dads are wearing polo shirts and, you know, khaki pants and very conservative. And my husband comes in Tevas shorts, a Hawaiian shirt, and an African mud cap with no brim, you know, just those ones with like the brown stripes. And my son, through gritted teeth, says, "Did you have to show up looking like a pseudo-African prince?" And my husband is doing the best he can to not just break up and add fire, you know, fuel to the fire. But who comes up with pseudo-African prince just off the top of their head when they're 13? So he's one of my greatest sources of laughter. And I think laughter is really the medicine, because Edna, one of the women in our healing group, is 99 weight, or 100, anyway, she's elderly, and she lives on her own, and her son comes and cooks for her every week, and she has a potty chair by the bed, and she fell the other night, and she scooted on her hind end all the way because she couldn't get back in the bed and she couldn't get on the potty chair, and she just scooted to the living room on her butt, and she has a little bony butt, you know, and she just told Edna, she goes, "What are you going to do? You got to laugh getting old, you know, otherwise what's the alternative?" You know, and I thought that was fantastic, you know, that she could keep a sense of humor, because I think that's the best thing to do when it's a disaster. We had to back up the trailer the other night in the dark. David has to back up. I'm going with my sticks. he's backing up. I'm trailer left, trailer
Yeah.
left. I got this scrape on my leg because I had to crawl through bushes. It was so tight. But we did it, and we just laughed the whole time. What are you going to do? Although I'll tell you, once I cracked a joke too soon after Lady Diana passed on. We were staying with this Brazilian woman who idolized Lady Di, and I made the joke too soon. Too soon. And it just kind of put a damper on the friendship, It so offended her. Mm-hmm. So timing is everything.
I've had successful jobs, but most of my sisters were in education, and I got into accounting and education towards the end of my career. Mm-hmm. Financially, I think I would have tried to have a government or a school type job earlier in life because it's got great retirement benefits. I don't know, on other topics, I'm not sure what I would say to myself. Just be careful in life, make good decisions. Mm-hmm. My sisters and I have all done pretty well in life, just having families and not getting into trouble and things like that. So
yeah,
I'm not sure what advice I would give to myself.
Just go for it. I would look back. I did quite a few adventurous things, but I think I would have. That saying, I guess, as you get older, really resonates with me. You're going to regret more what you don't do than what you do. Because mm-hmm. even if it turns out to be a somewhat of a blanketless disaster, it's still going to be a funny story to tell, and there's going to be some bonding and some great stuff that goes on. And I think there was fear that held me back maybe from doing certain things, and I would tell myself, just go for it, just do it, Mm-hmm. Don't let fear stop you.
I've always been conservative as far as doing daring things, but unexpectedly we did do something daring one time. One of my sisters and a friend and I had a friend from music camp, and they were exploring over on the coast to try to get some water that went down to the ocean, and they wanted to show us the spot. So we had been camping at Richardson's Grove, and in the middle of the night at like 2 a.m. they lead us on this trail down to the coast, and we're in the dark, not knowing what we were doing, walking along this cliff, and then when we got to the ocean, we had to go around a big old rock sticking out in the water, and when the waves went back, we all tried to go around. Well, right in the center of it, a big old wave hit me, and we could have been swept out to sea.
Yeah, in the middle of the night?
It was probably about 5 a.m. by the time we got to that part.
Oh my gosh, yeah, you could have died.
And then because I got all wet, then we were in sleeping bags on the edge of some cliff, and then there were sheep up like 300 feet above us, and they started knocking rocks down, and because I was wet, my head was inside the sleeping bag, and I got hit by a rock, and the edge of my cheek got, something got severed, so I have a little bit of numbness there. So I'm not into great excursions. I guess I'm okay with my boring life instead of having an experience like that.
Yeah, you just take a step out and it turns into a Goonies movie all of a sudden. That's crazy.
Joan was with me at the time, so...
At least I'm with my sister. I'll die with a familiar person near me.
That was my big adventure, so...
It's so cool.
It was a great first date. It was really, really nice.
I liked her really because she was laughing at my jokes.
Yeah.
And that she was extremely knowledgeable about all these instruments, and types of music and stuff.